The Zephyrian guards laughed as they secured the final knot around Kira's wrists, binding her to the weathered execution post in the center of their arena. The young Valdorian's silver skin glistened with sweat and tears as she struggled against the coarse rope that bit into her flesh. "Another spy from the rebellion," sneered Commander Vex, his forearms crossed as he addressed the jeering crowd. "Let the grinding beasts feast well tonight." The arena erupted in approval. Hundreds of Zephyrians filled the stone bleachers, their elongated heads bobbing with excitement. They had gathered for the evening's entertainment, watching the feared carnivores of their homeworld slowly devour another enemy of the state. Kira had been caught transmitting intelligence about Zephyrian military movements to the resistance. Her crime was punishable by the cruelest death their society could devise, being eaten alive by the grinding beasts, massive wolf-like creatures with rows of serrated teeth designed to tear flesh from bone in agonizing strips. The gates at the arena's far end began to creak open. Kira's breathing quickened as shadows moved within the darkness beyond. The crowd's roar intensified. "Please," she whispered to no one in particular. "Someone help me." That's when she saw him. A figure had dropped silently from the arena's upper walls, landing in a crouch near the shadows. The Zephyrians hadn't noticed him yet. They were too focused on the emerging beasts. But Kira could see him clearly. A human male, dressed in dark tactical gear, his face grim with determination. Humans were legendary throughout this sector of the galaxy, though few had ever seen one. Stories spoke of their impossible tenacity, their refusal to abandon their own, and their disturbing habit of surviving situations that should have killed them. Most species dismissed these tales as myths. The first grinding beast emerged into the arena's harsh lights. It stood nearly 3 meters tall, its muscled frame rippling beneath matted fur. Saliva dripped from its massive jaws as it caught Kira's scent. 2 more beasts followed, their yellow eyes locked on their helpless prey. The crowd's cheers reached a crescendo as the lead beast began its slow approach, savoring the terror of its victim. Kira pulled desperately at her bonds, but the ropes held firm. The human moved. He sprinted across the arena floor with impossible speed, covering the distance between himself and the first beast in seconds. The creature turned just as the human leaped, driving a vibro blade deep into its skull. The beast collapsed instantly, its death cry echoing off the arena walls. The crowd fell silent. The remaining 2 beasts roared and charged the human, who rolled away from their snapping jaws. With fluid grace, he came up running, drawing a compact energy weapon from his belt. 2 precise shots dropped both creatures before they could react. Commander Vex jumped to his feet in the royal box. "Guards, kill the intruder!" Dozens of Zephyrian soldiers poured into the arena, their plasma rifles already firing. The human dove behind the corpse of the largest beast, using it as cover while he worked his way toward Kira. "Who are you?" she gasped as he reached her position and began cutting her bonds with surgical precision. "Marcus Chen, Terran Defense." "Corpse," he replied, without looking up from his work. "Your brother hired me to find you." "Davin is alive?" "Very much so, and very worried about his little sister." The ropes parted under his blade. "Can you run?" Kira tested her legs, wincing at the pain from several minor cuts where the beasts had begun their feeding. "I think so." Marcus handed her a small device. "Emergency beacon. If we get separated, activate it. My ship will find you." The Zephyrian forces had formed a perimeter around them, plasma bolts sizzling through the air. Marcus returned fire with methodical precision, each shot finding its mark. But there were too many of them. "The gates!" Kira pointed to a maintenance entrance on the arena's eastern wall. They ran together, Marcus covering their retreat with disciplined bursts from his weapon. A plasma bolt grazed his shoulder, spinning him around, but he kept moving. Another caught him in the leg, and he stumbled. "Leave me," he said through gritted teeth. "Get to the beacon." Instead, Kira wrapped his arm around her shoulders and helped him forward. Absolutely not. Humans never leave anyone behind, right? Well, neither do Valdorians. Marcus managed a pained smile. Your brother didn't mention you were stubborn. They reached the maintenance gate just as Marcus's weapon ran dry. Behind them, the Zephyrian guards were closing in, their commander screaming orders for them to be taken alive. Marcus placed a small cylindrical device against the gate's lock and stepped back. The explosive charge blew the door clean off its hinges. Move! They stumbled through the opening into a narrow tunnel that led to the arena's lower levels. Behind them, they could hear the guards giving chase. This way, Marcus said, consulting a device on his wrist. My ship is 2 kilometers north. They navigated the underground passages for what felt like hours, moving as quickly as Marcus's injured leg would allow. Finally, they emerged into the Zephyrian city's industrial district, where a sleek human corvette waited in the shadows between 2 abandoned factories. As they climbed aboard, Kira looked back at her rescuer. Why did you come for me? You don't even know me. Marcus sealed the ship's hatch and began the pre-flight sequence. Your brother said you were the best intelligence officer the Resistance had. Said you were worth 100 normal soldiers. He glanced at her as the ship lifted off. But honestly, I would have come anyway. No one deserves to die like that, especially not alone. The ship broke through the planet's atmosphere as Zephyrian fighters scrambled to intercept them. But they were too late. Marcus had already engaged the faster-than-light drive. As the stars stretched into lines around them, Kira finally understood why humans had earned their reputation throughout the galaxy. They weren't the strongest or the smartest species, but they possessed something far more dangerous. They simply refused to give up on each other. And that, she realized, made them the most terrifying force in the universe.